Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. As you can see, it's going to be TOKI for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This was released in 1981 and it's a conversion of the arcade game by the same name, which was released in 1989. Arcade game is quite a challenging game and it was ported to a bunch of different platforms, many being very challenging as well. The Nintendo Entertainment System one, on the other hand, is actually quite easy. It's a very easy clear. It's actually a really good game for people that aren't that experienced with action platformers or run and guns. But it's still a fun game, even for more experienced players. If you're a more experienced player, I still recommend checking this out. It's a pretty solid game through and through. Music and graphics leave a little bit to be desired, especially by 1991 standards. I mean, we're talking, this was after games like Ninja Gaiden 2 and Mega Man 3 and Super Mario 3 and things like that. So it's a little lackluster on the aesthetics front compared to, you know, games that came prior to it. But it is still a fun game. This playthrough is probably going to take us about 20 or 30 minutes to get through. It's not a terribly long game, especially if you don't, you know, die too many times. But hopefully I can show you some tricks along the way. There's something I didn't really realize on my very first Let's Play of this game, which I did about, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, is that there's a lot of invulnerability power-ups, you know, given to you or just handed to you on a silver platter in this game. You can actually take advantage of those to get through sections a lot faster than I had originally realized back in the day. So, but yeah, if you guys have been a long-time follower to this channel, yes, you have seen me play TOKI before, so if this feels like kind of a deja vu moment, it's because TOKI was one of my earliest Let's Plays I ever did, but that was with old capture hardware and 30 frames a second and yada yada yada, lower resolution, and it was time to revisit it and do a re-record. So yeah. Before we jump into things, though, let's go ahead and give our Patreon backers the usual shout-out. Thank you guys for your continued support. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys continue to enjoy getting these videos early and ad-free. Also, we're going to flash by the recent live stream Super Chatters. Thank you guys for your continued support as well. I do live streams on Friday nights, so if you're bored on a Friday night, feel free to stop in and say hello. So with that, let's go ahead and just hit the start button and jump right into the game. Now, the game does have sort of like in-between map screens, in-between level map screens, much like, say, Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts or something like that. And it'll just scroll by nice and slow, and it's got a little bit of story that it tells in between as well. But let's go ahead and just hit A to skip through that. And so, as you can see, TOKI is a bit of a run-and-gun game. You've got a full... you know, a long full-screen projectile as your main shot. You pick up other types of shots in the game as well. One of the interesting features in this game is being able to hop on enemies, like so. And here's another projectile right here. It's like a dual shot, and this is going to be a football helmet. This is the invulnerability I was telling you about. So once you get the football helmet, you can just run right into enemies. You don't even have to shoot them. Just walk right into them. And we're gonna just keep going up like this. Gonna kill these guys up here. And there we go. So along with moving left and right and shooting upwards and diagonally upwards, you can also duck in this game as well, and you can actually crawl along the ground, which is actually kind of a neat feature. There weren't that many NES games that I'm aware of that you could actually crawl in. I remember when the 16-bit generation came around, and there were more games that allowed you to do that, but it's actually interesting to go back and see TOKI that does in fact allow you to do that, and it's an 8-bit NES game, which was pretty cool. We're just gonna hop on that guy. You don't really take any damage when you hop on enemies in this game, so it's actually a very useful function. There's gonna be a couple of extra lives and things like that that are pretty much impossible to get without hopping on enemies' heads, and so it is definitely a mechanic that's reused. And we're gonna use these boots to hopefully get another football helmet. And again, the football helmets are invincibility. And these little ghost guys appear occasionally as well. A lot of times they'll just sort of troll you and just kind of appear like right where you're supposed to be going. They can be a little frustrating to deal with. But we're gonna kill this thing first and then jump up, grab that football helmet. Now, the shoes and the football helmet are basically individual power-ups, and you can only have one of them at any given moment. So, if you have a choice between the boots and the football helmet, I definitely recommend the boots. And I kind of wanted to see if I can... No, football helmet doesn't do anything on that guy, unfortunately. Would have been interesting if it actually did some damage to him. So one thing I like about this game is that, you know, on boss fights, it actually shows the boss health bar, and every hit basically depletes their bar one by one. And I'm always kind of a sucker for that kind of, you know, boss health system. Yeah, one of the things about TOKI and the NES, though, is like I've already mentioned, it's a very simple game. It's not very challenging. As you can see, there aren't that many enemies on the screen. And, you know, if you do see a bunch of enemies on screen, like those guys floating up top, they're not usually a threat. Like, these guys just drop coins. If you pick up 50 coins, you get yourself an extra life. Now, we have 3 lives right now. And I'd say by the end of the playthrough, we're probably going to have like 7 or 8 lives, depending on what the drops are after we defeat a boss. So bosses in this game drop 3 power-ups at the end of the boss fight, and those power-ups just seem to be completely random. So basically what I got on that first boss is, I forgot what the first item was, but I got 2 heart refills, or life refills. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand portion of the screen, you've got 2 hearts, so that's basically 2 hit points. Now, that can be extended. At the end of boss fights, sometimes they'll drop a health bar extend. I've had up to 4 hearts in this game before. But it's just random. It doesn't seem like there's any rhythm or rhyme to it. Or if there is rhythm or rhyme to it, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's linked to your score, or the time, or something like that. There's a whole host of factors that could be in play, but I'm not sure if they're actually in play. So this guy right here, you have to hit him in the head. You can't hit him in the tail or anything like that. It'll just, your projectiles will just bounce right off of him. So you can try to sort of lead your shots above him, so he sort of runs into the shots. And that's actually a really good skill to have on, you know, in shoot-'em-ups in particular. This is very much a shoot-'em-up type of section. And of course, right as I say that, we go right back to a platforming section. Most of the game is platforming, but there are a couple parts in the game that have some different skills required in order to get through them. This is our next boss fight. This guy basically drops eyeballs on the ground and they just bounce all over the place. You can try to destroy the eyeballs, but they have a tendency of just stopping, so what I'll do sometimes is just jump over the guy and just keep shooting him. And that's that. Let's see what he drops. Alright, so points, that's a hard extend, and then more points. But the hard extends are nice, because you can pick up, you know, health replenishments and things like that. Now in this level, you gotta watch out for the floor. That floor down below is actually lava. Or fire, or whatever you want to call it. And you will die in 1 hit. And one thing that's actually kind of interesting, I tested it the other day, is that you cannot take the football helmet into the fire. You will still die in 1 hit. So while the football helmet makes you invincible to pretty much every normal enemy, it does not make you invincible to things like the fire. And actually, we wanna go back up here. Oh, it's okay. I was a little worried that that platform was done. It wasn't gonna come back. Alright, so there's another football helmet up there, and there's actually sort of a trick way to get it. You can't hop on that little guy that was crawling on the ground. We want to kill these guys first. There's going to be an enemy over here that just bounces down. And first we need to trigger him. You have to get close enough to him to trigger his momentum. And you want to hop on him just like that, and that's how you get the football helmet. So this is kind of what I was talking about, is when you know what to do in this game, you can just keep getting the football helmet over and over and over again, and just kind of tear through much of the game without really any danger. And we're going to kind of do the same thing here. I'm not going to worry about that power-up. It's not a big deal. My main shot is fine, so I don't really stress over not getting certain weapons in this game. And there we go. These guys drop a key, which always opens up the next area. And there's an extra life up there. This is one of those extra lives where you have to jump on enemies. I find it's not really worth going for, because more often than not, you're just going to fall into the fire trying to get the extra life. It's not really worth the trouble. And we got some vines here we can grab onto. Always kind of a fun mechanic when it works well. There are some games where it doesn't work very well. But in this game, it actually works okay. I don't really ever have a problem latching onto it. And we're basically just going to do the same thing here. Just grab onto it. Grab onto that. Pretty simple stuff. You know, that vine actually always reminds me of, there's some very similar vines in Alex Kidd, the Lost Stars for the, well, I guess arcade, but also the Sega Master System specifically. And there we go, we got some points, and this is a boss fight. We're just gonna shoot him as is, kind of like this. And we're gonna watch out for his burp projectiles. And that's that. And let's see what he drops. Bonus points, heart, and heart. Awesome, we got all of our health back. So one thing you'll notice is that from level to level, your hearts don't actually replenish. You have to pick up the items in order to make that happen. And again, the boss drops are just completely random, so you have no idea what you're gonna get. And as you can see, these platforms just fall. And it looks like we're at 33 coins right now, so we just need 17 more coins for an extra life. Do we need those extra lives? Probably not. We've already got 5 lives. And these platforms come back as well. So if you mess up, you're not really at a big loss. They'll just come back and you can try again. So you can really see how, like, this game isn't horribly punishing. We just got some boots again. And okay, we're just gonna go up like that. Now the Genesis version, on the other hand, that game is just, it's evil. It's quite evil. And there's the football helmet. Yeah, so if I ever see the football helmet, that's what I go for. That takes priority over anything else. Now your special weapons in this game, they do seem to be timed. It's not really related to ammunition or anything like that. It's just they're on a timer. So you pretty much want to just use them as much as you can while you've got them. There's another football helmet right there. We're going to go ahead and try to grab that. And we're not going to be able to grab it because I didn't hop on the enemy. And I don't think I'm going to be able to... Yeah. Okay, well, never mind. I wonder if I can get that guy to respawn. Do enemies respawn? I don't think enemies really respawn in this game. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Oh well, not a big deal. One of the nice things about getting that football helmet here, though, is you can kill this wall squid thing instantly with the football helmet. And there's a second one up here that you can also kill instantly if you manage to take your football helmet all the way to it. Usually it's running out of time by the time you get to this thing, but it is possible to destroy both squid walls with your invincibility football helmet. Alright, next boss. So this guy has projectiles you just want to jump over. And that's that. Heart extend again, life extend, I should say. And we're making pretty good progress through this game. Like I said, it's not a horribly long game. We're only 15 minutes into the playthrough, and I think we're like 2 levels away from the end of the game. So the game is not very long. It's very easy to just tear right through this game. But, you know, like I mentioned, it is a fun game. I do like going back and just kind of rolling through this game casually once every now and then. It is fun. It's not stressful, and not every game has to be stressful. I do like stressful games. You guys see me play lots and lots of stressful games. But not every game has to be stressful to be enjoyable, in my opinion. And there's a football helmet again. We're gonna have to hop on this enemy in order to get it. And we're just gonna skip that guy. I can literally just hold right if I wanted to, and that's actually what I'm gonna do. See, that was bad. I thought I could actually jump and hit that vine, but I wasn't able to. Might have been possible if I either jumped a little bit earlier or jumped just a little bit later. Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not, actually, now that I think about it. Alright, this should actually give us an extra life from coins. There we go. 6 lives. 6 lives, and we've died once. Where did we die twice? I don't remember. Not really keeping track. Okay, so this power-up up there, those are the shoes. It's actually kind of interesting because they don't look like shoes. It looks like more like a rabbit's kind of head or something like that. And actually, I messed up. I totally messed up because I was supposed to hop on the enemy. That's one thing, like, I sometimes find myself messing up, is killing enemies when I'm supposed to hop on them. So, like, right here, if I want to get these coins, I have to hop on... Never mind, I don't have to hop on these enemies. I do have to hop on this guy if I want that extra life, though. So you can see how the presentation in this game is very basic as well. You got this waterfall in the background. It's just a complete static image. In a lot of NES games by this point in time in particular, a waterfall would be animated. You'd have, you know, some nice animation happening. Even if it's just simplistic animation, you'd have animation and it would just make all the difference in terms of the feeling it conveys. But you don't have that in TOKI. TOKI is just super basic. If someone told me that this game was originally like made in 1986, I'd believe them. Because there are games from '86 that are still more impressive than this game, like the original Castlevania, for instance. That's a fantastic example. 86 in Japan, 87 in North America. Alright, boss time. Now this guy's a little tricky. You have to kind of jump over his feet as they get close. And then you have to hit his heart. But the heart gets blocked by these hands. And as you can see, your projectiles just ricochet off the hands. Alright, come on. Got him. Got him without taking a hit. That's good. So if you wanted to, you could actually just jump up as all the power-ups appear, and you'll just collect them all in one fell swoop. But you won't really know what you got. I like waiting for them to appear, and then I collect them. Just so I know, like, exactly what I got. So this is our final level in the game. I think it's maybe a tiny bit longer than some of the other levels in the game, but yeah, not a horribly difficult stage. Pretty basic. Gotta watch out for these fists that come down. They sort of look like metallic fists. Kind of. No, never mind. They almost look like anvils in a way. Meshed with like a gauntlet kind of metallic glove. You got these little knights here. Oops, I meant to hop on him. But yeah, you can just hop on their heads just like any other enemy in the game. We're just gonna wait for these things. They do hurt you. And these guys, you could just kind of shoot them from a distance if you want. One of the things about those big floating ape heads, or monkey heads, or whatever you want to call them, is that they do have a lot of invincibility frames. And that's something to keep in mind with certain enemies in games like these. Is if you notice your projectile is just going right through the enemies, chances are they've got a lot of invincibility frame time, which means that you're not doing any damage. So this part's a little interesting. When you jump, you just want to jump straight up. However, it kind of throws a curveball at you with these big gaps. You do need to hold forward if you want to do a longer jump. But what I like to do is just use the football helmet to just kind of go through some of these things, kind of like that. These red, spiky, furry things will hurt you unless you have the football helmet. And that's a tricky one right there. That's probably the toughest jump in the game, actually. And those are boots. We're not going to do that. I'd rather have the football helmet. And I like this weapon. This weapon's nice and powerful. And we're just going to jump over like this. Let's just walk through these guys. If only I could be that strong when I wear a football helmet. Alright, so this first form, what we're going to do is just kind of shoot his bottom. Like so. And then he has a second form. His head comes out, and it basically comes out to wherever you are on the screen. So you want to stay a little bit, you know, not all the way to the edge of the screen. You want to stay in a little bit. That way you have a little bit of room to walk over to the left-hand side to avoid his head that comes out. So kind of like that. Notice how it stops wherever I am. Oops, took a hit. And that's it! We just beat Toki! Yeah, so like I said, the game's not terribly long. I think it probably took us literally 20 minutes of gameplay. I think the first 5+ minutes was just me talking. And so Toki turns back into a man. And I swear this game has one of like kind of one of the most fourth wall breaking endings I think I've ever seen in a game. The evil forces have been conquered. Toki, the warrior, embraces his sweetheart, Miho, in his arms. Now that your quest as the hero character of the game is complete, you are certainly ready to fight through your life as the human being, making the best of the valuable experiences you acquired in the game. It's like, wow. I played this on stream the other day and I saw that ending and I totally forgot that it was basically like, go forth in your real life. The skills you've learned in this game will help you greatly. So that's Toki, guys. Like I said, it's a fun game. You know, it's not one you take too seriously. And I do recommend playing it, especially if you're one of those people that, you know, kind of has issue with difficult games. This one's really not that challenging. And I think it's definitely a good beginner's, like, action platformer. But even again, you know, for more experienced players, it's still a worthwhile playthrough as well. There's no second loop as far as I'm aware. I think it's pretty much just this, and that's it. So, yeah, the difficulty doesn't really increase or anything like that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I actually meant to look it up before I did this Let's Play, but I did not do that. So, I don't think there's a second loop. But if there is, I'd definitely like to check it out. So yeah, not a whole lot else to comment on this game. I mean, it's a fun game. Hopefully I can tackle some other versions of Toki in the future. I do want to do the Genesis version. I beat that for the first time about a year and a half ago, and it was a major pain. Major pain. But hopefully I can get better at that and do a Let's Play on that game. That would be a good one to show off, because it is, like, really tough. And then, of course, there's the arcade version, the Atari Lynx version, and you know, versions like that. That would be fun to cover as well. But they are much more challenging and would actually require me to really put some effort in. But I don't know. Maybe one day we'll be able to do those. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing. I've got hundreds of Let's Plays on this channel and many more to come, as always. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, or if you thought it was dumb, give it a thumbs down. And for everyone already subbed, thank you for your usual support and continued support. And until the next video, take it easy.